is Dr. Ramarao, who is chair of IEEE GRSS Kerala section, and Dr. Deepak Krishna, head of the department Avionics, Institute of Space Science and Technology. Dr. Sudarshan Karthik, Chair Research Activities, IEEE, IA, IEPL, TS Joint Chapter Kerala section, and Dr. Chinmay Saha, who is Chair of IEEE MTTS Kerala Chapter. A very good afternoon to you panelists, and also I welcome you to this panel discussion on IEEE's role in India's R&D growth. So let me welcome all the audience who are here today to grace this occasion of IEEE Day 2021 celebration that IAST student branch is organizing in collaboration with the IEEE GRSS Kerala chapter, IEEE EMBS Kerala chapter, IEEE MTTS Kerala chapter, and IEEE Industrial Engineering Society, Industrial Application Society, and Power Electronics Society Kerala joint chapter. So welcome you all. So IEEE Day is celebrated in memorial to the first meeting held by a group of engineers in 1884, which began the formation of the precursor organizations to IEEE. So these engineers came forward to form an organization to meet, discuss, share valuable thoughts and ideas so that problems can be solved and advancements in technology can be made, and there will be mutual benefit for the entire profession. So today we celebrate, IEEE members celebrate this day as a first Tuesday of October every year. So I welcome you to this IEEE Day 2021 celebration in this particular panel discussion. So, why do we need to organize this panel discussion, and what is the relevance of the title IEEE's role in India's R&D growth? India has been, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. India has two-digit growth until recently, until we faced the pandemic issue, and after the pandemic too, we are actually growing at two-digit growth rates. This is tremendous compared to what we had been seeing since our independence. Now, if you consider the IEEE's growth in India, that has been tremendous too. Two examples I can point out is that IEEE Kerala section, which is one of the two top sections in the world. Many times we are number one, and occasionally we become number two, and so on. And it's not just that, many of our chapters, sections chapters are also among the top three in the world. So with these, India's tremendous growth potential, IEEE's growth in India, and there is an opportunity to actually merge the expertise available within IEEE membership here to help radically grow India's research and development activities. So that's the reason why IAST student branch collaborated with these esteemed sections of esteemed chapters of IEEE Kerala section in order to highlight this particular point. So now with this introduction, so let me invite in sequence each one of these panelists about what they think in about 3 to 5 minutes about this particular topic, IEEE's role in India's R&D growth. So let me call out Professor Ramarao just to highlight what you think is relevant for this particular topic, IEEE's role in India's R&D growth.
Thank you, Professor Manoj, for organizing this very wonderful event, I think, which is very relevant to the times as well as the theme. Not much any time. I like to put few points which are related, I think, from this context. The first thing is that, as we could see, there are two types of research that happen in India. where we typically call academic research with a very well-defined boundaries of impact as well as inputs. And other one is this industry, which is more of project-related research. And the thing, another which is important but has not been much attended to is this government research related to various government initiatives. So, in the context, what happens is that while most of these academic related research are taken care by the usual institutional mechanisms, where they often end with a project and the students also end up with a PhD or MTech thesis. That's well defined, but it's context to society at large, and particularly the case where this government is not readily able to take up the existence of this research. In fact, many times government requires something which is not even known to the institutions which are supposed to be delivering on that. The same time, we do many things, research are done by institutional, but government is not aware of their existence or their impact. And other point, which is also in the sense one of the important points for this IEEE kind of technical society is that some researches cannot be put into the lines of academic research as well as the typical industrial research because their duration is short, their funding is unspecified, and but they have general acceptability across society. So everybody requires it, but nobody owns it. So if when nobody feels that I'm not able to own it, so they may not fund it. So when such kind of situations are there, the society problem, in the sense requirement which cannot be easily fit into a PhD problem, and also an industry commercially viable industry problem because whenever a commercially viable research the industries go for IP and they cannot divulge to anybody else. So there are so many situations where society at large and governments require research things which are short in duration, which could not be requiring a lot of funding and continuity of a lot of this manpower. That is where I think this professional society comes in, where we can feel that kind of a gap, where the research that we do are very short term in terms of their turnaround time and which cannot be simply copyrighted by the institute and an industry. So that is where I think we need to look some of these important aspects of our even Indian context, finding out research areas and different things which are very potential in the sense application, but we could not be easily put into a problem of an organized academic research and industrial research, but which can be done as a kind of networking because if it requires working or networking with the people from multiple institutions, which through which I think this IEEE is the easiest way of network formation, and also access the students' resources to enable that. That is one thing which we can actually take the easiest and the most important gap for this growth channel, where we can formalize a third way of resource of this research. And another thing I like to mention is that we all very much familiar with the level of research associated service that we call technical analysis and technical documentation, which is poor across domains and across degrees. So if we can actually like to have an effort which is independent of a supervisor related resource, IEEE kind of society is the biggest and most appropriate body to take up this kind of thing and generally enhance the quality of these technical analysis and technical writing skills across the board. I think that is one of the important research and accessories that you call skill, which is perennially in short service where IEEE can take care and organize it, kind of service to the entire society. I think I consider these two are important aspects from my perspective. What I can say. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ramarao. I think you have made some very interesting points across the board. So we'll come to this particular angle of the networking, transformation of the problems into what can be tackled by the students and researchers, and even the documentation, publication, access to student research, and so on. So now let me invite Dr. Deepak Mishra, who has been an active IEEE volunteer for a long time. He is also the head of the Department of Avionics, IEEE IAST, and the secretary of the GRSS Kerala chapter. So now, Dr. Deepak Mishra, what do you think about this particular topic, IEEE's role in India's R&D growth?
Good evening, everybody. Professor Manoj, Professor Chinmay, Professor Ramarao, Professor Sudarshan Karthik, my fellow colleagues who are joining from their offices and students. I thank IEEE for inviting me for such a wonderful discussion. And it is a very, I also congratulate each one of you on IEEE Day. This is very important day for all of us. I think I came across uh, IEEE when I started to read papers for first time for my research, and I joined as a student member in 2004, and since then I'm somehow associated with the IEEE in various aspects. Uh, so I see that when I did my PhD, so lot of encouragement and all those things came from the IEEE only. So I think it is a very big role. IEEE has really played a major role in transforming the Indian research. Moreover, the quality aspect of the research has been significantly improved by the IEEE only. Because in order to publish in IEEE conferences or journals, you have to do very high quality work. And there is a lot of competition in front of us before we get our paper accepted in these premier venues. So I think the understanding to a researcher like me who was just graduated from one institute and then started his PhD was given by IEEE. So I think IEEE has really contributed significantly in the growth of Indian academia, and moreover now we see huge number of events. So when I was doing PhD, the number of IEEE events were very minimal, but the number of IEEE events which is now we see is very large. Okay. Now one can ask this question whether all the IEEE events are really benefiting the people or not. Do we have a rating for category A, category B, category C events of IEEE? So all those questions set aside, but still I think at large people in all possible categories. Let's say a student from a tier 1 college, tier 2 college, tier 3 college, and not at all tier college. They are also getting benefited of the IEEE. I think me and Chinmay and I went to some Kanyakumari district, and there one IEEE event was there. So it was very nicely organized. So I think the reach of IEEE has been to a very underprivileged colleges as well, and it really has pulled out the technical skill from different students. And I personally feel more than IEEE benefiting a senior member like me or Dr. Manoj, it is benefiting the students who are really in the need. They need support for their conference travel, they need support for their registration fees, and they need also avenues to publish. So IEEE has really given many such events to our students. In IIST, we started with the IEEE student branch, and now we have so many chapters here, and many of the our students are also part of the member of this IEEE. And so I think the investment we made towards joining this IEEE, and most of the time, if you don't utilize, so once we become member, we have to also utilize and start, taking the resources which are available for us. So I think that is something which I see is lacking in telling the participant or the student what all benefits available for them, how to harness them, and how to make it much more competitive. That is one aspect I see. So, to my understanding, IEEE has contributed in a large extent to improve the quality of research as well as the reach of the research to many places. Now, if you ask me the improvements required, so what I feel is that the IEEE has to be like Dr. Amarao said, has to be more accessible. Accessible in the sense that across societies, more of a interdisciplinary nature of work. Let's say now, if I am a member of Signal Processing Society or GRSS Society, I don't talk to MTTS or ComSoc. So this gap between the societies has to be also removed in a manner that I can actually part of one society, but also I can access the other uh, parts of the development. So I think interdisciplinary nature of the IEEE has to brought in rather than confining it to small brackets. And we always find there are very little GRS member, very little MTTS member, very little signal processing members. But on together they are more, but in between the groups are very less. So somehow this barrier has to be overcome. And if that can be overcome, I think a lot more interesting ideas, interdisciplinary ideas, the projects will be and moreover, I think the involvement of our student in different IEEE projects, mentoring systems has to be brought in, and not only IST students work with IST faculty, but I think we should create a team of bright students from different institutions, and then they work together with many of mentors. There will be pool of mentor, like Dr. Manoj was telling in the morning today, a pool of mentor and pool of student, and then they do something good for the society and humanitarian values. I think that would help in long run. So with this, I think thanks to the organizer, Dr. Manoj, and all other colleagues to give me this opportunity. All very happy ICT day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. I think you put forth a very interesting points, particularly about the accessibility, interdisciplinary work, and so on. We'll discuss some of these points in the next round. Now, in the first round, I would like to request Dr. Sudarshan Karthik, who has been the research activities chair of three of the very important joint chapters of IEEE Kerala section. So, Sudarshan, about this topic, what is the statement that you make?
Yes, so thank you for this opportunity. This is a very good initiative on IEEE Day. So only two things that I would like to point out because we have very short time for this. One is there are so many institutions which operate in isolation, but IEEE is a platform which can bring student activities together. Say for example, in IEEE Kerala section in the year 2018, I know for sure that there has been at least one activity per day on an average. So there has been more than 350 activities over one year time. So it means that these activities, suppose IAS chapter is holding an activity, it is open to all IAS chapters across the state, across the country, and so on, depending on whether it's a national event, international event, or event within the state. So this is a very good platform, and it enhances the competitive nature of people. You get so many entries, and we can have workshops. And recently there was a workshop conducted for electric vehicles. In fact, I was one of the panel members there. Students actually gain a lot, and it helps them in their placements also because of their exposure that they have, and company that industry interfaces that is created because of these joint events. That is one thing. Second thing is from the student's perspective, IEEE is a framework which will give students benefit based on how much they invest in it. Say becoming an IEEE member is only the first step. What normally happens is, I can say from my experience here, that students become members, and all the benefit that they get is only some discounts in the conferences. But it should not stop there. There are so many avenues to work within IAST and at the section level, and they can take up some leadership positions and then get more range. In fact, one of the students who took such a leadership positions has got a lot of contacts, and he even attended a conference, and he represented Kerala section in one of the international conferences in travel to US and so on. So all these things are possible because of this network and how much initiative he has taken and what kind of official position that he has in this particular framework. And one last point that I would like to tell is the curation of research and research activities and scientific data by IEEE is a very good resource for academicians and industry experts. That is only visible when you lose access to IEEE digital library. Say from institute you go to an industry, suddenly for 1 month or so, say you don't have that access and you really feel that it is a big handicap. Even now I get a lot of requests from my friends who are in industry telling that, do you have access to this paper? Can you download this and send it to me? Okay, so IEEE curates that data very well and it is making it accessible to several universities, and you can also purchase them, and more importantly IEEE allows you to directly contact the authors and get the paper from them. Say for example, if I see a paper in IEEE and then say I don't have the subscription for that paper, so IEEE will give you that author's email and you can directly contact authors, and IEEE allows that the authors can directly send you. So having an IEEE being in that IEEE system is not restricting thing. We still have the access to all the scientific research, but it is curated in a very nice manner, and it is a very good research tool. And in fact, it takes quite some time to get used to the tool and use it very effectively. Okay, so all this 3 points I would like to mention, and you have to start early. Basically, if you start early, you have that much of advantage. With these points, I would like to conclude. Thank you, Dr. Manoj.
Darshan. I think you made interesting points, particularly on the benefits of joining IEEE and the resources available from IEEE, as well as enormous amounts of highly curated data from IEEE. So we'll come to some of these in the next round. Now, let me request Dr. Chinmay Saha, who has been the founder of MTTS Kerala chapter and former chair of IEEE APS Kerala chapter, to make a statement about this topic of IEEE's role in India's R&D growth.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Professor Manoj, my esteemed colleagues, the other panel members, and the students and other faculty colleagues who are present. I think this is a very great initiative on a very special day, which is IEEE Day, which is done every Tuesday of October in every year, and the history dates back to 1884, so it is almost like a 140 years old initiative. And as Professor Manoj mentioned at the introductory comments, that IEEE Kerala section is very vibrant in terms of the quality, in terms of the activities. I would just like to add, our IEEE organization units at IIST, we have 4 student branch chapters: antenna propagation, microtheory techniques, GRSS, and IIS. All of them are equally active. And I think in last 2 years, 2 of our student branch chapters have received the Best Chapter Award. And with my association as Antenna Propagation Kerala Chapter Chair and currently MTTS Kerala Chapter Chair, we have bagged the Outstanding Chapter Award in 2018 and 2021 respectively. So coming back to the main point of the day, that is IEEE's role on India's R&D growth, I would just like to tweak the title a bit, like how we can leverage IEEE and its OUs for the benefits of R&D of India. And of course, when I say I, it comes to IIST always as fast. So I'll try to be very specific and focused. As you know, IEEE is known for standardization. Whatever branch of engineering you are dealing with, even though it stands for electrical and electronic engineers, nowadays IEEE's scope is much more than what the name suggests. Any branch of engineering, whether you are geoscience, remote sensing, even material science, oceanography, any kind of thing, chemical technology, everything is somehow nowadays related with engineering, and IEEE has recently grown, and the number of societies also has grown, and the number of journals, number of periodicals, number of magazines, number of letters, everything has grown very, very significantly. So the point I was mentioning, the standardization, whether you are talking about the EMC standardization or the frequency allocation for 5G spectrum or whatever branch of engineering you are talking about, or EMC rules and regulations, or the SAR, specific absorption rate, manipulation, or rather norm. So in setting up all these standardization and the norm, IEEE takes a big role. And India being one of the largest country in terms of population, in terms of number of members also in IEEE, we have a good amount of share in decision making and policy making. Now what we are lacking and what we need to do is have more representation into the top IEEE organizational units and decision making policy. We are very good organizers, we have excellent pool of volunteers, but that is something where we are actually lacking. So Indian academics, Indian institute, Indian research organizations have to think in that direction, and we need to take a leading role so that our people are representing at the very top level of IEEE, so that our words, our sayings, our local requirement are reflected while making those policies and protocols. This is very, very important. So that would happen through our more meaningful representation in IEEE, not only by organizing events, but also by publishing in IEEE journals, representing IEEE journals as associate editor, editor-in-chief, and so on and so forth. I don't know, apart from one of my friend at IIT Bombay, who is editor-in-chief in IEEE GRSS letter, I don't know whether there is any other EIC in any of our IEEE journals as of now. I mean, interestingly, and it's a matter of a proud moment as well, that currently our department are having 3 associate editors in 3 IEEE journals. So our institute and India as a whole need to think on that direction, and we should have more representation in that direction. And we have to think more in the technical direction. For young students and colleagues, you must be knowing by that time that publishing your work is very important. So you can have, initially you can target IEEE conferences, you can try in other journals, but you might have dozens of publications. But if you have one IEEE journal publication, that, discriminate you from the normal and something extraordinary. So recently I was in a panel where Professor Shankar Pal, who is the former director of ISI Kolkata, and he is an IEEE fellow, one of the, veteran in IEEE, he mentioned having an IEEE journal publication is like having a credit card. You will be treated differently. You can encash many things just by having few IEEE journal publication. So IEEE, means quality, IEEE means hallmark, IEEE means you are unique. So we should think in that direction. And another very important point I would like to focus, that our organizational units, especially the SBCs, can leverage through different IEEE initiatives like IEEE DLs, Distinguished Lecture Programs. We have IEEE interaction through different conferences. But when we have IEEE OUs, we can invite the DLs and they can come to our campus without any cost implication from our institute, and we can network through those kind of initiatives also. And we can have different other benefits like IEEE internship. We can, do summer internship initiative or winter internship initiative through different societies. Recently, we are taking some ideas and have initiated certain things on that direction. And lastly, but not the least, recently, whatever government of India's thinking are like, Clean India, Smart India, Swachh Bharat, all these things comes up and matches synchronously with IEEE initiative. IEEE has a SITE initiative, which stands for Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology. IEEE has SCOPE, which is a Committee on Promotion of Equality. IEEE has WIE, Women in Engineering. So IEEE always thinks ahead. IEEE thinks always in a different way, and in a very, it is a point that our thought process, the government of initiatives are quite in sync with IEEE initiative. So we can tried to take advantages of all these initiatives, and I believe with all the OUs being very vibrant, we can try to bring some project, and in that way we can also try to contribute on the growth of research and technology in India. Last point, recently probably a few of you might be knowing, AICTE has signed a MOU with IEEE because they understand that technical education cannot progress without association and without guidance from IEEE. So all the affiliated institutions of AICTE can leverage this benefit that AICTE, IEEE are in good friendship. With this, I stop my initial remarks. I'll be very happy to address any points. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Chinmay Saha. I think you have made an elaborate discussion about the standardization and the Indian academicians, requirement to be part of such high-level activities, and also part of the journal editorial boards, and what makes IEEE publications different, and what makes an author publishing in IEEE journals different from normal people, and so on. Very, very interesting points. But let me just take a couple of questions from the audience. So here Abhishek Mishra is asking a question about the requirement of raising the quality of research. So he's basically asking, when are we going to work on system level designing rather than taking one research paper from IEEE Explore and modifying it by minute delta and it will be republished again. So basically he is highlighting on the a typical researcher's role in India, students or others who might want to have a delta improvement and publish it again. So he is suggesting what we can do or how we can do or when we will do the quality research in India. So please feel free to pick the question. Any of the panelists who may want to answer.
Yeah, I can respond initially. Other can add. First of all, if it is IEEE paper and if you try to repeat the paper and do an delta increment, you won't be able to publish in another IEEE journal. It is impossible. You may try in other journals, but if it is an IEEE journal will never accept any delta incremental type of paper. But coming back to your point, like how we can discriminate from repeating a paper to a quality system level work, I think that mainly depends on your research goal. So at the very beginning of your research journey, the first criteria might be to be confident by repeating and reproducing other results, but gradually, depending on your research area, research statement, I cannot be very focused because this question is very generic. So depending on the research area, research statement, etc., you have to think of the research gap initially. What is the research gap which is present with respect to the state of the art and futuristic requirement? So if we can identify that research gap and the future growth in that particular topic or in that particular area, then probably you can come up with a proper research statement, and then you need to work on. And system level research requires, I believe, experimental analysis, experimental validation along with the theoretical and other aspects. So these are the main points that defines a system level research and a delta repetition of a paper. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Chinmay. I think you have answered it very correctly. So let me take the next question. This is from Jaydev Vijayavargiya, who is a PhD student. How can we get maximum in terms of experience and networking from IEEE? Do you have any session, quick sessions from one or two panel members can be there? Basically, how to benefit maximum from the networking or experience from IEEE.
So let me respond to this. So I think the attending the conferences, is the one way to do networking. Okay? I think they have also available resources. Means in a sense they have a list of contacts available in IEEE portal, and we can actually contact several. You can start with a society chair, or you can directly contact with the chair. So they are very quick in response. Suppose you need certain help, you can always contact to the concerned IEEE members and then get advice. So they have a good database. I think that would really helpful in getting networking. And moreover, I think attending the conferences, being an active member of different societies, and participate in the different events would make you more, visible, and then you will have an opportunity to meet different people. Although different efforts have been done by different chapters to create, like this is one such opportunity where you can know people. But I think that is what my suggestion would be. And any other one to add? Regarding the first question, Abhishek, actually, so I just basically have a little apprehension in the way that you are asking this question. See, it's the researcher who decides what you are doing. Okay, being a quality researcher, you should always decide what is where to satisfy my own, goals. So you cannot control others, but at least as a person, we can control our own, research. So it will be a good idea to really ask this question before publishing: whether have I done the enough contribution? I think that's the question. If you ask, then such mistakes won't happen. That's my view.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. I think you have given the right answers for that. Now, let me ask you one question to the panelists, Dr. Chinmay Saha and Dr. Ramarao. Since you both are currently chairing two important society chapters, what are you planning for your membership in terms of UG research, PG student research support, PhD program? Out of these three categories of research students, are you as chapter chairs plan for any specific activities to encourage research?
Yes, as far as the GRSS is concerned, we have planned three categories of activities which are particularly from research related thing. One is this research recognition, which is nothing but rewarding the best thesis, both masters and PhD. IEEE GRSS India Best Thesis Awards. And then another thing that also is that to equip the necessary skills to the students, particularly these masters and PhD initial PhD students, are that there are certain kind of skills. For example, some sort of Python programming which are exclusive to the kind of GRSS related domains activities. Many students require, but they do not know where to get them from, as well as the core things which can be acquired in a month if they approach any other organization, a corporate kind of training. It may take 6 months, but 30,000 rupees. If we can have those kind of very critical things which should be requiring across the kind of GRS domains, and where we can actually acquire those kind of skills in a shorter time, for example, a month. So some of these very specific, intensive, hands-on courses of 1 month duration or maximum 2 month durations are also planned for that. And another thing which we like to start from this year onwards, which I think is also important, is that open to not only to GRSS, but even in the sense not only to IEEE, but even to anyone, as a kind of support to the community, Indian student community, that like let us say five for five, in the sense, if we like to announce a call where the potential candidates who might be PhD students or masters or some early career faculty or researchers, if they have some work halfway through done, or if they did some work but they do not know how to convert that work into a paper. So if they require some sort of hand holding by reviewing critically and helping to write and put the critical review hand holding to make a journal ready submission and helping to put it. So we like to announce a call which will be inviting expressions of interest from many, and we're choosing, let's say, 5 people. So of the 5, we will be in the sense assigning a dedicated IEEE volunteer in the same area to handhold it and make sure that within the period of 6 months that is going to be published either in IEEE or even journals out of IEEE domains, in the sense of publishers also, so that at least people who have some work done or who has aptitude, they should be hand-holded to make sure that they did this kind of work and publish. We give preference to the IEEE, but the journals, because there are some domains a little broad, so we like to make sure that even our journals outside our IEEE also taken care, and we like to make sure that every year at least 5 people are made sure that they publish it because of help from our this initiative. So that's what we like that.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rao. And Dr. Chinmay, can you briefly tell
Yeah,
what?
my answer, as always, will be very brief and bulleted. Initial few points of Dr. Ramarao is common with MTTS initiative. We have thesis award at UG and PG level, which is very recently started. We have done, probably you have seen earlier, 3-minute project and thesis competition. It has been held in real mode in IIST for 2 years, and this year it will be held virtually towards the end of the year. Apart from that, probably you have seen, we have conducted several high quality webinars during this pandemic with faculty members across the globe and also from industry. We have initiated a new kind of event which is called L4. There are 4 L's: learn from leaders and learn from legends. Under this L4 initiative, very top level people who are IEEE fellow or maybe beyond that, IEEE president or very important people in IEEE administrative committee, etc. Those people have been speakers. This initiative is on for last 14-15 months. There have been at least 15 lectures under this initiative, and we are going to launch a new pan-India internship initiative where students from UG as well as PG level will be guided by pool of experts from India, and they will be supported financially also. We have supported quite a few students for attending conferences. We have some initiative through which students gets up to $500 travel support for attending conferences. And once a student's travel is partially supported, we sometimes pay their registration fee using our society funds, etc. So these are the very focused answer to your query.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chinmay. Excellent programs. I'm sure this will be successful. Now, one question about Dr. Sudarshan. You have mentioned this particular thing, curated data set. One of the problems that I have found some of our researchers faced is the unavailability of India-specific data sets. So, in fact, Dr. Deepak Mishra also may comment on this. What IEEE can do, or what IEEE Kerala section and the associated chapters can do to make India-specific data sets available to the researchers?
No, one thing is publishing India-specific problems. Say, for example, in several cases, we have a set of problems which we try to address, right? So, most of the reviewers ask, this problem does not exist in their country and why are we solving? Then more often what happens is, in the response to reviewers, we have to give the correct context, modify the introduction, and then modify that particular problem within that particular context and tell that we are solving this particular issue. That is one way. And the second way is, of course, this is an international journal that we are talking about. We cannot make it very India specific also. India could be a case, but it is the nature of that data which should be applicable to the overall global kind of scenario. So it is basically 2 things. One is where we locate the data. If we are going for forums, international forums like IEEE, India would be one case. It will not support problems which are just related to India, at least not in journals or data ports. But that is where IEEE sections and IEEE India Council comes. In their conferences which they are organizing, definitely we can have India specific problems and India specific things. In fact, one particular conference which is IEEE International Conference on Transportation Electrification has a separate India edition. So if once in 2 years, it is held in USA, it is held in China, and the biggest transportation electrification conference is actually in India. Second is US. So if there is enough support from researchers as well as industry and societies, we can even have an India-specific conference as a part of the bigger picture, and then we'll get a lot of data. In fact, in 2019, I attended the conference. There were a lot of automotive manufacturers. Mahindra and Mahindra was the organizer of that event. There were Tata, and you know how many electric vehicles we have in the country now, more than 1 lakh vehicles in past 2 years. So it really, you can see the visible change when such thing happens from the academic end.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan. Dr. Deepak, you want to add a very brief answer to this particular question?
So I think it is, first of all, if you have funding associated with any data set, then it becomes attractive. So if you want to have Indian specific problem, if you give a lot of money, even foreigners would be also interested to work on that problem. Like Kaggle competition is very good example where people have been given a lot of money to work on different challenges. So basically the idea here is we need to start, there are flagship conferences of India, IEEE flagship conferences in different domains. We should start the challenge where participants from India, can really participate in those things. Like I know that IIT, Triple IIT Hyderabad, many other IITs, they have started their own data set. Only thing, labeling of the data, making this data available, developing a system to, check the performance of the algorithm. So all those things has to be done. So we need a good, team which can have a like-minded people which is, interested in those kind of problem, and then start pulling the data through crowdsourcing, make it available for the people to really, work on those problems, give some good remuneration for the, winning team. That would, attract the good people. Moreover, if you involve, let's say, like DARPA challenge is very famous in the US. If you start involve DRDO and ISRO in part of that challenge, it becomes much more attractive. So I think associating with the big and renowned R&D organization and offering a challenge in different conference would definitely attract many people, not only Indian but other people. And moreover, it will publish as well. That is my view.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Deepak. One last question for the panelists. This is from Dr. Srinavi. What is IEEE's views and plans for industry, academia, R&D ecosystem in India? One of the panelists can pick up and give a very brief answer, as we are almost overshot our time by 5 minutes. So please, who wants to go?
There is no specific India plan, but there is definitely industry academia plan globally from IEEE side. As you know, there is a separate education society coming into picture very recently. In Kerala also we have IEEE Education Society. So these initiatives are basically to bridge the gap between academia and industry. And there are various aspects of this particular question. If you see in IEEE boards and IEEE societies, then you will see quite a almost equal representation from academia and industry in almost all societies. So there is enough scope to discuss Dr. Shina's question.
Yeah.
What I want to say, IEEE is very much aware of this requirement, and there are focused initiatives towards this.
Thank you, Dr. Chinmay. I think you have very clearly and summarily answered that question. So we are almost at the end of that with my last question. This is actually a question aimed at all 4 of the panelists. I would like the panelists to listen to the question and give one-word answer. Okay. So in 1930, Dr. C.V. Raman won the Nobel Prize for his phenomenal invention called Raman effect. That was a pre-independence achievement. The post-independence, we have not been able to do that. So if India's researchers, academicians, students and others boldly imagine that 15 years from now, from 2021, take 15 years, 2036, can we do a work that qualifies a Nobel Prize, or that can be equivalent to a Nobel Prize winning invention? Is this possible? One word answer.
It's only optimistic. We can put 20 years at least.
Okay. Sudarshan?
Again, an optimistic thing, but if the conditions are right, we may get it.
Dr. Deepak?
I think it's very difficult question to answer. We have not got since 1947, and now you are asking in 15 years we will get or not. So I don't think we will be getting soon. 15 years is too early to predict anything. But I think the way institution has grown in our institution, let's say different education like ISERs have come, new institutions have developed. So unless we have a good R&D infrastructure, we cannot expect Nobel Prize. We need to really invest significantly and start taking the fundamental problems. So we need to be, I don't think.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Deepak and Dr. Chinmay.
The question was one word. So one word, considering the input from previous three panel members, is yes. But it is very difficult. Till now, only 15 IEEE members have been recipient of Nobel Awards, because Nobel Awards are mainly given for more invention and contribution in science. In technology also it is there, but normally it is mainly from science. And because you mentioned Nobel regarding C.V. Raman, I would like to mention this point, that IEEE in 2011 acknowledged the contribution of C.V. Raman and J.C. Bose by providing 2 Millennium Plaque, IEEE Millennium Plaque, that is offered for some pioneering invention over a millennium. So that was IEEE president visited and provided 2 plaques, one for contribution of J.C. Bose, Jagdish Chandra Bose, another is for C.V. Raman. And incidentally, I was present in that plaque ceremony, which was held in Calcutta. Yeah, just wanted to add this.
Thank you, Dr. Chinmay. And with that, we are coming to an end. I would like to thank you, all the panelists, for the time they spared for us and for the wisdom they shared with us, and for the directions that they have decided to take their chapters and their activities forward in helping India's R&D with their IEEE roles. Thank you so much for Dr. Deepak Mishra, Dr. Sudarshan Karthik, Dr. Chinmay, Dr. Ramarao for having agreed to come at this very tightly scheduled day. I would also like to thank all the audience here, all those who have raised questions, all those who have participated in this for your presence here. Thank you all. So let me close down and stop recording that now. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Professor Manoj. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, all the participants.
Yeah.
Thank you.